So, welcome back after talking about the active faults and the folds and other structures. Now, let us talk something which is also an important part about the lithology. So, as I was talking in the previous lecture that from one aspect, why the lithology is so important that we need to know before going for the site evaluation. So, we will see that how best we can use the satellite data to identify the subsurface lithology. Now, before I get into the detail, let me tell you the one of the best and basic way which we have been using to know the subsurface lithology is the drainages on the surface which have developed, or you can say the drainage system, the pattern of the streams and all that. That is very important to understand and know the subsurface lithology. So, basically the lithology explained in terms of rock origin. So, we usually talk about, because we have three type of different rocks, that is igneous, metamorphic and sedimentary rocks. So, keeping that in mind, because the crust what we talk, the earth crust is mainly consists of this three rocks, and of course, the alluvium is there, but that is again the product which we get in terms of the smaller particles and loose material in the plain areas. But mostly the crust you will see we have all this type of igneous, metamorphic and alluvium we are having. So, when sedimentary rocks. So, mainly it explains the origin as sedimentary, metamorphic or igneous rocks. Now, landforms composed of this rocks can often show up with striking clarity on satellite data. You will be able to differentiate that this area of course is having a different lithology than the surrounding one based on the some very striking features that we will see. Now, if you we take the igneous rocks, igneous surface material that may be directly recognized by inference includes granite, basalt and lava flows. So, this the terrain or the surfaces which are in the igneous terrain or the volcanic terrain where you are bound to see the granites which are again an intrusive rock but basalt and lava flows, they are coming right up to the surface. So, you will be able to easily pick up that, saying that fine, these features are indicative of granitic terrain, or these features are indicative of basaltic terrain or a lava flow. Fine. Sedimentary, coming to that, possible to interpret sand, that is quartz, sandstone, dolomite and limestone deposits. Because this deposit, if you are having a sandy deposit, you will be able to pick up, either you can talk about based on the tonal variations, you will be able to say, and in the previous one also again based on the tonal variations you can differentiate between granitic terrain and basaltic terrains. Because the reflectance which you are going to get, the tones which you are going to see, the variation on the satellite data will be very demarcating. So, similarly in sedimentary sand, when we say quartz, so we will have very high reflectance. Sandstone again is mostly comprised of quartz grains, and dolomite and limestone will have different effect. And then for example, in limestone you will have the karst topography, or where you can say where you won't be able to go for any construction and all that, you will see and big potholes type things. So, those are the indications of that. Now, metamorphic rock, as soon as we talk about, they are very highly deformed rocks, or the processes where the rocks igneous and metamorphic rocks are getting metamorphosed. So, I am not going to go into the detail of the plate tectonics and all that, and what is the relation of the plate tectonics and the rock cycle here. You can refer to that in my previous lectures. So, basically the metamorphics are highly deformed rocks, and one of the rock which we can easily pick up is gneissic rocks and the marble and all that. Okay. So, this deposits or the rock successions, or if they exist on the in any area, can be easily picked up. Okay. So, tonal and texture variations, basically we emphasize on that, because we are not going physically to the field, but we are using the high resolution satellite data for identifying the terrain, okay, or the rock types. Okay. So, photographic tones shows characteristic of material and reflect conditions of deposition, okay, stage and type of weathering agents. So, this you will be able to identify, and then we will see some examples, and we will also come up with labs also, where we will be at least doing 3 exercises for identifying sedimentary, metamorphic and igneous rock terrain. Okay. Then it also try to tell us about the water supply and drainage, plant association and property of soil profile also. Okay. Because not all terrains or the all areas, if you take, will have similar vegetation. Vegetation also will depend on the subsurface lithology or the soil type. Okay. So, this is especially helpful in studying unconsolidated sediments. Okay. The tone of an object on aerial photo depends upon several factors which are given below. One is the light reflectivity of the object or the surface. Second, the angle of reflected light which your data is going to collect, or the and then geographic latitude, film sensitivity, light transmission of filter, and final upon the processing of fill. Okay. So, there are factors which will again affect the tonal variation. So, the point here is to that of course, we understand to some extent that different material will have different reflectance. Okay. But sometime the other factors which will play role in getting you different tones are listed here. Okay. So, that at what angle your light is reflected back, okay, and then in what latitude you are in, okay, because that sun angle will have different sun rays will have different angle at different point. Okay. So, that is again an important point, and then what type of film you are using, either you are using a simple film or normal film, or you are using a panchromatic film, okay, where you will have different shades which will be recorded based on the different reflectance. Okay. And the light transmission, what type of filters you have used and all that. Okay. So, along with that, one has to keep that in mind when you are getting the data with you and trying to interpret. Okay. So, that whether there is any artifact which has been added because of these factors. Okay. So, now this is a very simple color photograph, again to show that the features you can pick up looking to the photograph because of the change in tonal variation again here. Okay, fine. So, you have blue which shows the sky, and this whole hill which has been shown is covered with a very thick forest. Okay. But you see a very brighter unit here. Okay. And very, so this is what you are able to pick up is the slide, okay, landslide, and this was during an Uttarkashi earthquake. Okay. So, based on the tonal variation, easily you can pick up many things. Okay, fine. Now, coming to the other part is that this photograph, if you look at again, you can mark the structure on this, and the another part is again the tonal variation. Okay, fine. Now, if you see, you can easily demarcate that, for example, here, okay, you have a very sharp structure which is coming here. Okay. So, this is one boundary here, and then you have a very sharp boundary here. Okay. Of course, looks like an part of an fold. Okay. The another part which you can pick up here is that this area is dark as compared to this area, this is lighter. Okay. Plus another additional thing, that this region or this portion, okay, which is that is left and right, which I am putting lighter and darker. Okay. The drainage density is comparatively less as compared to the darker part. Okay. So, what we have taken into consideration here is that one, we can pick up the linear features. Second is the drainage, and third is your tonal variation. So, let us see what exactly we are able to gather from this photograph. Okay. Whether we are able to talk something about in terms of the lithology or not. Okay. So, the sandstone formation are lighter. Okay. So, I am just removing these lines, okay, so that you can have much clearer idea about. Okay. So, the sandstone formation are lighter and more reflective than the shales. Okay. Now, the shale and sandstone are the sedimentary rocks, both are sedimentary rocks. Okay. Sandstone as compared to shale is coarser, okay, and will comprise mostly the fine particles, clay size particles. Okay. So, what it says that sandstone is lighter and shale is darker. Okay. Another one, terrain having shale is more eroded compared to the sandstone area. Also have close spaced drainage network than sandstone. Now, why this area is more eroded? When I say the clay size particle, they will not allow the water to percolate down. Okay, fine. So, as we were talking about that the lighter tone and the darker tone and all that. Now, shale, another important property which one can look for is that because we have the shales are comprised of very fine material, mostly the clay, and clay have a tendency to hold water. Okay, fine. No doubt it is porous, but it is less permeable as compared to the sandstone. Sandstone is also porous, but permeable. Okay. So, it will not hold water in terms of the sandstone. So, infiltration will be very fast, whereas infiltration in shale will be very slow. Okay. So, it has a tendency to hold water, and that is one of the reason that you see a closely spaced fine drainage. Okay. Whereas in sandstone you are having widely spaced and coarser drainage network. Okay. We will say the drainages are very less. Okay. So, this point you should keep in mind. Okay. Hence, this will have what we call the less density. Okay. So, the drainage density is less, whereas here the drainage density is high. Okay. Also, you will see that there are very closely spaced drainage. Okay. Now, here you have very, I would say, the coarse drainage, because whatever the water comes on the surface is getting percolated, okay, down. So, this area will show comparatively less erosion. Okay. The lighter part, which is of sandstone, is less eroded as compared to the this shale region. Okay. So, this is very important aspect where we have used different parameters, as I told, that we use the tonal variations, we use the drainage, okay, which can help you in identifying the different terrain. Okay. So, this is one side is shale and another is your sandstone. Now, maybe I might have shown you this Landsat data, okay, but this always fascinates me actually to whenever we talk about the tonal variations and the landforms which we can pick up based on this, okay, and what are those landforms are having a different origin or they are indicating of different like environment. That is extremely important for us. Now, this is one of the best areas, okay, which gives you an idea or an understanding of different environments. Okay. When I say different environment is whether the environment is aeolian or a desert, or the environment is marine or coastal areas, or you are talking about the terrestrial areas or not. Okay. So, this gives a complete broader perspective of the different landforms in this particular region. Okay. I hope by looking at this image you can easily make out that which is this area I am talking about. Okay. But those who are unable, let me tell you that this satellite data which has been shown right now on your screen is from Kutch. Okay. So, this is western India, Gujarat and Kutch region. So, what you can make out from this image, again this is a Landsat data, very old, and this line here just is nothing but we have tried to mosaic paper print data. Okay. At that time we were not having even the and this I am talking about when maybe in 95 or 96. Okay. Now, just based on this is false color composite data, but just based on the features which we can pick up easily and they are very distinct, and based on the tonal variations, the boundaries which one can pick up between the different landforms. Okay. That is what we call geomorphic boundaries. You can identify several landforms here. Okay. So, I would like to spend some time on this image because this is very fascinating to me, and but of course, you will also love to see that, okay, and how we can pick up, okay, the different environment here. I will keep on putting some lines and then removing also over here. Now, if you see this line here, okay, which is coming from this part, maybe I can put that very quickly. Now, if you put this line on the international borders, this will match exactly with the borders of India and Pakistan. Okay, fine. But for us, for the geologists, geomorphologists and earth scientists, this is merely a topographic boundary or geomorphic boundary, where we have two different environments here. Okay. This is completely desert, what we call Thar desert, and this side we are having a marshy land. Okay. So, these are two things. Now, you can question that how we have picked up this. Of course, we have been working in surrounding areas or nearby areas, and but if you are given that, okay, fine, this is an unknown area for you, how we will be able to identify that. Okay. Now, if you see this here, maybe we will come in future we will show some slides or the pictures which shows the how sand dunes looks like. Okay. You will be able to see a very typical alignment, okay, of this black lines here. Okay. These are all indicative of sand dunes. And but here you do not see that. Okay. So, you have a very clear cut indication of a desert which is comprised of a prominent sand dunes. Okay. Now, if you move from towards west, you will say something is different here actually. Yes, of course, the tonal variation is different. This shows a reddish part and this is like light brownish and all that. Okay, fine. And what is the demarcation between these two? You can pick up this line here which is like going like that. Okay. Now, one thing which will come in your mind or our mind should be that this line is not straight, why it is having some curves and all that, okay, and having slightly darker these things. This is because of the water content, okay. And this is a meandering channel which comes and get like merge with or meet this reservoir. Okay. So, this dark color is your pond, okay, or maybe a water body. Again, so coming to this is an area which comes under Pakistan and this is thickly populated, or you can say at least the reddish part, because in false color composite the reddish part is indicative of vegetation. Okay. So, it is the thickly vegetated area. Okay. So, nobody stays here, desert, because no water. Of course, this could also have formed the part of the desert, but water supply is there, irrigation is there. So, this has remained green. Okay, fine. And the same thing if you go in Rajasthan, okay, in some regions you will find that you are absolutely not looking in the, or you are not traveling across the desert area. Okay, it is so green, and that is because of the water supply there through the irrigation canals and all that. So, this is two things which you can easily demarcate. One is the sand dune areas, desert, vegetated areas, or the cultivation is there, population definitely must be there in this area. And this is the geomorphic boundary. I will just remove the line here so that it is more clear to you, and then remove this. Okay. So, easily make out. Okay. And this boundary is like, you can, when we visited the field, this side is up, this is down. So, one is the geomorphic boundary, another is that this boundary also indicate an active fault. Okay. So, which we have, we know that this is Nagar Parker Luni Sukri fault. Okay. And there is a town here somewhere which is known as Nagar Parker. Okay. So, based on that, this fault line was been identified or marked. Okay. Nobody works there because of lot of reasons, political reasons and all that between the two countries, but we have been able to work until this point. Okay. Okay, this point where we have been doing some stuff on archaeological part. Okay. Now, another important thing is that this darker body here, okay, is a water body. Okay. And then similarly we have a darker body here. Okay, fine. So, this is all, this part is not an ocean, but this is an ocean here. Okay, fine. And there is a boundary which comes here. Okay. So, this is indicative of your high tide and low tide. Okay. So, tidal range. Okay. So, you have a deeper part. So, why if you refer one of the lectures which we talked in the previous one, light will not get reflected from the water. Okay. So, if you are having shallower waters, then you will see some brighter colors. Okay. But if you are having deep waters, the light will not be reflected. Okay. Now, if we just consider that point and then say that, okay, fine, what is happening here in this area? Okay. So, this portion is completely white. Now, if you recall the albedo effect and all that, okay, if you are having a blackish area, or you can say the roads and all that, the reflectance will be like it will absorb light, okay, fine. But if you are having in white area like snow, okay, then you will have the light is getting reflected very fast, okay, and it will not absorb, okay. So similarly, this is what we see here, the whitish part is the well known your Great Run of Kutch. So this whole area is salt encrusted region, okay. So this is an only landform which exists in India, okay, salt encrustation and known as Great Run of Kutch, okay. So over the time, of course, the landscape changed over the time here, okay, because this whole area which is now considered or which we have demarcated as the Great Run of Kutch, okay, was the part of the Arabian Sea, and there are records which in the historical data and all that the Alexander the Great took the path through this way, okay, along with his team and all that, okay, but that I am not going to talk here. But I, of course, whenever I talk about Kutch, this is very important, okay, part. Now there is another demarcation here which goes like that, okay, fine. Now this is another, let me correct this. So one was this here. Now this is marshy land and this is your salt encrustation. So Great Run of Kutch, of course, it also includes this one, but this area relative to this is up and this is down. Just recall what we were talking in Himalayas, the relative up and down area, okay. So with this is up and this is down area, okay, and for this relative this is down, this is up. This both are governed by this topographic boundary, or the geomorphic boundary is governed by faults, okay, and this one is your Allaband fault, and this resulted into dramatic landscape change during, this is what literature says, okay, during 1819 AD Allaband earthquake. We visited this area. This is, if you look from here, okay, then this is higher and this is lower part, okay, and because of this uplift, okay, along this boundary, this channel which used to flow through this and getting into the Kori Creek, okay, there is an area here which is known as Kori Creek, okay, got deflected, or we can say disrupted completely, okay, and which is left out with this pond, okay. Now can you imagine that a stream which is a tributary of Indus coming here and just getting stopped here, okay. So why it did not, was not able to cross here, okay. So if you use high resolution DEM and all that, you will be able to know the terrain, that how it looks like, but let me tell you that what exactly it looks like, okay. If you take in section here, for example, this is A and B, okay, along this line, then you will be able to see something like this, okay. So you are having this depression here, this goes up, and then you are having a back tilting here, this goes up, and then so on, okay, fine. So the pond which has been formed here, so this point is here and this point is over here, okay. So again you have in faults here which are dipping towards, so this is north and this is south, okay. So this side is your north. So again the back tilting, okay, did not allow and then resulted into the formation of pond here. So I will take in different color here and let us see if I can put that, okay. So the first is cross section here, okay, and you have faults which are going like that, anyways I am not able to take, but this is the area of the back tilting where you are having the pond, okay, or the water body. So, what it says, okay, about the terrain, okay, that because of the tectonic movement, this whole area got transformed, okay, and forced the people to leave this place, okay, because still if you go in this area you will be able to find the old settlements, okay, fine. So, fine, this is one part. Of course, I am talking about the tectonics here, but we will talk more in the next, okay, that what are the different dark and lighter tones are indicative of from this image, okay, and then move further talking about different type of rocks and the part of the factors which we need to consider while identifying different landforms, okay. So, thank you so much.